Welcome to another edition of Husker Fans of Montana. I am Ricky J here with BB.
How you doing, Rick?
I'm great, and we got Jeff in Omaha.
Jeff? And Karl?
What's up, gentlemen?
How you doing, Karl?
Well, before you ladies hit close out your windows and stop watching us and then send us emails wondering where Karl is, he will be back next week. He'll be back.
Okay.
Right. He's got a large fan base following. He will be back.
He's out scouting potential bowl sites, I think.
There we
Bowl
go.
game. Yes.
Undercover Bull Scout.
Right. Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to jump into a little Husker news. And the Huskers defeated Wisconsin in Lincoln. Nebraska 44, Wisconsin 25. Nebraska travels to Iowa City to face head coach Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes on Friday, November 29 at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on NBC. Game is also on Peacock. Iowa has wins against Illinois State, Troy, Minnesota, Washington, Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Maryland, with losses against Iowa State, Ohio State, Michigan State, and UCLA. So one of the questions of the week, maybe we'll start off with fairly quickly, is after a close loss to Penn State, Wisconsin lost to Iowa 42-10. After a close loss to Oregon, Wisconsin lost to Nebraska 44-25. Was it another Wisconsin letdown, or did Nebraska truly dominate? Sunday, the EA Sports simulation game of Nebraska versus Iowa went live on youtube.com/@theexpedition. Final score, Nebraska 25, Iowa 27. And that was in like triple OT or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. So
Let's not forget to mention our official beer sponsor.
yeah, what do you got there, B?
I've got the delicious H2O hard seltzer for beer lovers who can't have a beer or feel like something lighter. It's fantastic.
It is good. And I have a beer, but it's the Jucy Obsession.
Oh.
You know, I'm going to pull up a couple. I went the extra mile here since we didn't have the Karl's Whiskey Corner. We decided to forego that. But the Jucy Obsession, a session-style IPA, is made with Montana grown and malted 2-row barley, along with Vienna malt, creating a light body beer perfect for highlighting the juicy hop flavors within. It is just an amazing beer, and I'll put
That's
this up
one of
for
your
the folks,
favorites.
but
I know you.
it is very, very good. It kind of, it's one of the relatively newer beers with a couple years, and it's kind of taken over for another one. And here's the H2O that we both love very much.
Very much so.
It is, if you don't want the calories and stuff,
Right.
but you still want the taste of hops, man, that's a winner.
It is. I have a couple of friends who just can't drink beer at all, and I've given them a 6-pack of these. They just love them. So
That's good.
Fantastic.
Jeff, what do you got out there?
Well, I got a couple things going here. First, the beer I got tonight, and let's see if we can get it up there.
Oh, look what we're doing.
It's Kincaider.
Nice.
Kincaider's a brewery out of Broken Bow, Nebraska, and it's the Snow Beast Winter Ale.
Love that.
Pretty good.
Snow Beast.
Pretty
Snow
smooth.
Beast.
It's got some interesting flavors, but I got to give a shout out. So I told my brother Eric, our southernmost fan, I'm not a whiskey guy. You guys always have your whiskey corner. I'm not a big whiskey guy, but he had bought me a bottle of Smoke Wagon small batch, straight bourbon whiskey quite some time ago. And I just
Here we are.
Let's see that
on
label.
it.
Oh,
Look at that.
man.
And so
Smoke Wagon.
I told him if we're going to get bowling, that I would have a drink with you boys tonight with a little
Look at
whiskey.
this.
That's
So
awesome.
God,
You're
this is-
saving
give it
us.
a little.
This is what it feels like to be Jeff normally.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah,
just
look
sit
at
there
it.
and
You guys have
watch.
nothing.
I'm
I
drooling
know.
a little
I-
bit. but I like
I am. I'm this
literally.
hurts.
I'm going
It
through
kinda
withdrawals.
hurts.
I know nothing about this whiskey. I'm sure it tastes like shit, like all the other ones.
I doubt it.
Hey,
But
Eric,
no, Eric recommended it. Like I said, he gave it to me as a gift. It's been
Smoke
sitting
Wagon.
at my house for probably.
I'm going to
a couple
write that
years.
down, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll try it next week if we can
Where's
find
that?
it.
Yeah,
Where's that
it's-
out of? Does it say where it's made? Or?
It's out of Vegas. Yeah, it's out of Las Vegas.
Right.
Nevada H&C Distillery. And so.
Well, when I think Las Vegas,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think a
smells
good
like
fine
whiskey.
bourbon.
Of
No
course.
doubt about it.
So, well, we should probably do a cheers then while I
We
got
should.
this thing. So,
Cheers.
all right, cheers, fellas.
Go Big
Cheers to
Red.
bowling.
Yeah. And you've got the shirt on for going bowling.
Yeah, going bowling, baby. Going bowling.
Love it.
Man, that's finally. Give us, Jeff, give us your thoughts on how it feels.
I took this as, I love it, by the way. I mean, I loved it. The way it happened, obviously it's not the way we wanted it to happen. It sure would have been nice. Had 5-1 or something like that to get one capped off and have this monkey off our back a long time ago. But yeah, I feel good for the seniors that did come back. Bittersweet part is it's a little bitter just due to the fact we had to bring in Holgerson to kind of get it done, and the fact that he had to put people on the money to get it done. But that being put aside, super happy for all those kids that got that 6th win for this whole entire state and program, and then they get an opportunity to go enjoy a bowl.
BB, your thoughts?
Oh, well, very happy to. Just especially those seniors. There's some of them in their 6 years, as Rhule was mentioning. It's a long time to put up with what they've had to put up with, and the lack of success, and just how close so many. It's one thing to know you're not going to make it. It's another thing week after week to be that close and failing. So this just had to feel amazing for those guys. And I will say I wish they'd have brought in Holgerson sooner, but thank God they did when they did. I'm afraid we wouldn't have this 6th win, I'm afraid, if we had just stayed the course. So I'm glad he made the change. I hope he stays around next season, because I think he'll make a big impact if he does.
Well, I'm thrilled also, and I echo all what both you guys have said, and thrilled for the team and everything. But I'm also thrilled for the young fans of Husker football, who all of their lives, many of them, the young ones, 8 years old, they haven't known a bowl game, and so
they're
nice.
tired of listening to their dad talk about the good old days, right? Yeah.
No, I remember on that one show I watched the Lincoln sort of something with the city of Lincoln, like promoter dude, and he comes in and they're picking the CU game, and his kid about in that age, he picks CU to win. They're like shocked. What? No, CU's going to win. And of course, thankfully, Nebraska won. But I think we need to begin to change that, and we need to get that excitement there for the youth. Because let's face it, the teams that you grew up liking weren't terrible when when you were young. Something caught your interest at some point, and then you became a fan of theirs.
Sure.
So we need that to happen for the youth of Nebraska. But
you got a great point there, because you even look at my boys.
Yeah.
Jack would have been 9.
Yeah.
Probably not paying a lot of attention at it at that point. And that's a Riley Bowl. It's not even the Pelini era. And then for Nate, Nate's 15 for the Riley Bowl. That's crazy that these young people,
right.
Both my boys being fans, that just by, blood and culture, that they actually become fans, because they haven't had anything to cheer about for the last decade.
Right. And hopefully this will begin. I like the way Rhule put it. Hopefully he said, this will be the first and only time we celebrate 6 wins.
6 wins.
But and that's a great, because we don't want the program standard to be just 6 wins every year and going to a bowl.
No,
but we want that to be a regular occurrence.
Absolutely. And another thing I want to be a regular occurrence for Jeff's sake, if for no other reason, is beating Iowa. This poor man needs some bragging rights.
Yeah, he does.
I do.
He's been beat down. All right, now I do want to take a little bit of pause from football before we jump into the Wisconsin game, and just highlight that Nebraska volleyball, number 2, swept Wisconsin, number 6 in the nation, and so they swept them 3-0 on Saturday after the football game. And then Nebraska men's basketball the day before defeated Creighton, who was number 21, 74-63. And I've got just a minute and a half of Raleigh Worcester, who's a Montana kid. And so, Jeff, I didn't share my screen. Let me jump back there and share that screen. And so then you can see it, Jeff. This will only take me a second. There we go. And now you should be able to see this, but it's just his highlights real quick.
This game is a Husker against St. Mary's on Sunday. He'll try from deep. Pulls off the
He's number 24.
And an 8-3 early start for the Big Red. There's little bobbles in the handoffs here. There's Worcester around the Mia screen. Hesitates, goes past Kalkbrenner, and the Huskers have their largest lead of the night at 11.
You said it, hesitate.
Needs some help. Worcester to work against Isaacs. Inside, and Worcester with the touch.
That's just strength. Just muscling it away, baiting him into throwing that pass and then going and getting it.
That physicality that Greg McDermott was so worried about has showed up tonight. Here's Esijan inside, gets the roll. Connor Esijan.
And Hoiberg, well, Esijan's one of those guys that can run off screens and shoot. He took a couple of threes off those hands.
6.5 to play in this one. For Pop Isaacs, he's got 25, but too little, too late. And the Nebraska Cornhuskers
Quite a win.
have come to Omaha and stunned their in-state rival. Number 14, Creighton, falls 74-63 to Nebraska.
Yeah, it's a huge win.
I got to add to that, too. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Nebraska wrestling, that's ranked third in the nation right now, took first at the Navy Classic. I think that was out in Vegas for the third year in a row.
Good heavens.
Really?
And also on Saturday. So Nebraska sports had one hell of a weekend.
Can we just stop now? Let's just stop.
Yeah.
Freeze time for all eternity.
No shit.
No doubt.
No shit.
No, that's
kidding.
awesome. I did not hear that, Jeff. So thank you. That's why we have a man on the ground.
Absolutely.
We bring
That's right.
our thousands of viewers that sort of critical information.
That's there you go.
A man on the ground.
There you go.
No, that's awesome for all Nebraska sports, but we are here to celebrate the football game where I remember before my father passed away, Nebraska during the years they were getting bad, and anyway, it would be he would start talking about volleyball or something. I'm like, Dad, stop! That just tells me how horrible the Nebraska football program has gotten. But I do celebrate all the sports and their success. It's awesome. Here is just under 5 minutes of the football game of the highlights, and it's quiet enough we can talk over it.
Nice return finally.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of this year. Who had a great game, by the way.
I was a little
You guys
afraid.
just
Go ahead, Jeff.
feel that, like, do you just feel like just by Holgerson holding the offense accountable that it's penetrated the whole team? It
Yes.
sure looked like. I mean, just assignment-wise and stuff, everything just seemed
Well,
way cleaner.
There was. And he simplified, by his own account. He kind of went with a lot less was more kind of a mentality, and I think
This
that
was
helped
awesome.
them too. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, great for him to get the first touchdown.
A statement on their opening drive of the game.
Yeah, I did notice with the offense, even when we didn't have two set back, we would bring a receiver across to block on a running plays, and that seemed to really open it up quite a bit. I hadn't seen a lot of that this year.
Well, even when
They're on
go ahead, Jeff.
a reel, they highlighted one of Banks' blocks. I was amazed. Like, Banks actually just smashes somebody.
Yeah, I was not feeling real optimistic at this point.
Yeah.
This was
He's not only holding the players accountable, but when he said to the running backs coach a couple games ago, his first game, and he said, "Hey, they got to hit those holes. They're there. The line's opening them up." And so then it puts pressure on the coach as well as the players.
Well, and I feel like it's just going to breed into that because now they're having success. So now Banks is going to have fun. These guys they're going to, I think it got so just,
yeah.
that they were getting their ass kicked in practice and they're not getting any results on Saturdays.
Didn't it just feel like Wisconsin was playing our role in this game? Missing field goals, fumbling the ball. I mean, it was nice touch on that pass, by the way.
Yeah.
And a tremendous catch.
Jamal Banks for the score. And Nebraska cashes in after a second missed field goal by Wisconsin. Walker pounding his way through. The ball is out.
Well, it should show them, too, that they can face some adversity and still make it through and still, win by
John Hull had a great game. That was love to see this kid turn this thing around.
Yeah, I think he's made his last 8.
Yeah.
8 in a row.
Got some confidence. And look at that hole he goes. I mean, that's just, they moved people back. It was good to see.
Cannot go as fast as you want to. Dupree carries, big hold. Darion Dupree down the sideline into Husker territory and inside the 40-yard line.
I got to say, there's room for improvement. Gifford's play I didn't think was particularly strong. They definitely saw some weakness in the secondary with him.
And a touchdown.
He had one really bad missed tackle that I'm thinking of.
Boy, did Emmett have a game.
Yes.
He was just not going to be denied on some of those.
I mean, my goodness, this guy is have a day, Emmett Johnson.
And I'm guessing Emmett's the kid that he was talking about, that Holgerson was talking about last week, that he kind of found. And
there's a little bit of a rumor that I heard floated out there that he didn't see anyone, and he just said that to put everyone on notice.
Oh, really?
That was poor play by our secondary.
Basically a way to get everyone looking over their shoulder. Shit, who is it? Who is it? Is it my spot? I better pick it up.
Well, I like it. I love this formation. This just absolutely great play. I just love bringing in the big guys and moving them out.
Ty Robinson said he wants to run the ball. They're like, no, it's not happening.
That was a good feeling right there.
Yeah.
There is scuttlebutt around here, though, that, they might – I don't think they'll do it, but Gifford might see the bench.
You've mentioned this before, and I really, noticed it, too. I just don't think he's playing up to his expectations.
He's just not.
No. I think opposing teams have seen that. It just seems like they kind of go at him sometimes.
Yeah. He's not – and it's not like one part of it. Like, he's not – solid on run fit. He's not solid on pass plays. Like, he's just behind on everything.
Okay.
So not healthy.
And then you'll see him make some good plays, but unfortunately, when he misses them, and it seems to be about average, about 50-50. But here's some of the coaches. We got just 7.5 minutes of his.
Obviously, good win. Happy for the guys. Thought it was as well-rounded as we played from the opening kickoff, on the kickoff return, special teams, offense, defense, kicking field goals. Thought it was as well-rounded as we can be. So credit to the guys. As I told them, we it's not like we're doing something different. They're doing the same things. They've just worked and worked and worked and gotten better and better and better. I'm especially proud of those seniors. 30 of them, all different, different journeys to get here, but especially the guys who've been here for a long time. They've been through 3 coaches, different ADs. They've as I said earlier, they've stood in the gap. It's not easy to do, in a place with expectations like this, and they've done it. So I was really happy for them to be able to grab that trophy, and they've never seen it before, and hold it and bring it in the locker room. So happy for them. Happy for last year's seniors. It was great to see, the Ethan Pipers, the Taggies, the Reimers, the guys who, we weren't able to get them there last year. I promised them last year that I'd fly them to the bowl game. So I was happy that we can guarantee a couple more weeks, and we can bring those guys from last year hopefully to the bowl game this year. So
what accounts for how well your offense played from the start, from the very first drive until the final touchdown?
Well, Sam, it's I just can't have a good moment, right? Me, I have to always be whatever. But even at halftime, I was like, we turned the ball over on the 20-yard line. So they gave our offense did. We missnapped it on third down for again. We had a penalty after a touchdown that led to a good kickoff return. So we dropped a couple touchdowns. So there was still a ton of plays that were left out there. I just think Dylan was really on, and we ran the football really well. Jacory worked the middle of the field. But, I thought Emmett was, first 100-yard rusher of the season. But, also catching the ball in the backfield. The tight end showed up. The ball went to where it was supposed to be. We were able to protect the quarterback. So I just think, they went out and they executed. And when we executed, we scored. When we didn't execute, we struggled to score. But that's, I guess, my point. Like, there was no new plays. I mean, I had to call timeout a couple times because Dana was, tripped up trying to get the words out. And because, he knew what he wanted. And a lot of plays, some of the other coaches helped him with. I thought it was great collaborative by those guys on the sideline.
Can you speak to the rhythm that your offense found into the first half and then into the second half? Just the rhythm and play calling and just the way that the offense moved?
Yeah, I think, if you go back throughout the course of the year, we've had a lot of drives killed by penalties and things like that. I thought there was no negative plays, right? So, like last week, I know you guys asked me about pushing the ball on the field. I said, well, we were able to get the ball in the quarterback's hand. Every ball kind of went forward, right? It's like, like playing like links golf, just keep knocking it down the fairway. And today we were able to do that, but also make some explosive plays. But the players made the explosive plays. The players made people miss. Like Emmett was untackleable at times today, right? So I thought that was another component to it. And then we were probably, more aggressive in the fourth quarter. As I've talked about, me looking at it saying, hey, how do you kind of challenge and change the way that we're going to play to be a little bit more explosive? And we threw the ball more in the fourth quarter than I normally would. And Dylan made those plays. Like he made great decisions. He put the ball where they needed to be. And even I don't know how many we scored, but 44. We probably could have scored 55. With a couple balls hit our hands and we had to kick field goals. So, credit to those guys for coming out and making the plays.
What does it mean just to advance the program forward at this point, to finally get over this hurdle that's blocked the program since 2016?
Well, I think there's obviously like a psychological component to it, but there's also a physical component to it. And as I said when I was talking to the production, you think the last 7 years Wisconsin's been in a bowl game. That's roughly 15 practices a year. That's 105 practices that their players have had of development that we haven't had. And so, this is a great way to send off the seniors. It's also an opportunity for us to continue to develop our players. And then kind of the cloud that kind of hangs over everything, it's gone. This will be the last time we ever celebrate 6 wins. But as I've told our players, it's always the hardest to do it, because it's always hard to be the first to do it, right? Everyone's always, your own self. You're questioning, like, is this right? Is that right? Once you do it, it's like, okay, this works. I trust it now. And so I can't thank, Ty and Giff and Nash and all those guys enough. Bryce's, they've trusted it. And, whether it was Buschini putting the ball out of the 2, it just comes down to players making plays. And so I hope as we come in tomorrow, our players have a much better picture of what's possible when you do things at the level they're capable of. And, we got into a bowl game. We have another opportunity on Friday to go play another game and a rivalry game, and it should mean a lot to us.
What was your immediate emotion? When you're going to win. There's probably about 3 minutes left. You're up 19. What is the emotions that flood over you, and what did you see from your team?
I was. It was important to me that those, because Wish came over to me and said, hey, those guys need to go grab that trophy, and I had forgot that there was a trophy, and not because we haven't had it. It's just not the way my brain really works that way. But I was like, I just can't tell you like how much Ty Robinson means to me. I just can't express it. I can't express how much. Those guys have meant to me, and I don't know that everyone's always treated them fairly. I don't know that like those guys. I don't know if anyone understands what they've had to endure here. It's just hard to be a player and have different coaches. It's just so hard, right? And I've seen the look on their face coming off the field after UCLA. I've seen the look on their face coming off the field, and just me like being like, what else can I do for them? So honestly, Sam, today my speech to them in the locker room was, I would give anything to do this for you, but I can't. You have to go do it, And so my emotion was that I wanted them to have that moment, and then then I was just trying to get off the field. They wanted to interview me with the Big Ten, and they took a long time, and I got a little bit choked up there too, because I just they've worked so hard, and I wanted them to have this to watch the tape.
Is there any part of this that's a feeling of relief?
Yes. 100%, 100%. And again, it's relief in that. I've got the benefit of doing this twice before, and staying like I think I said to you guys like when I made the change with Dana, like I look at the weight room, I look at the training room, I look at sports science, I look at sports psychology, I look at the player development, I look at the recruiting, I look at all the things we're doing and believe it's all right and it's all going to pay off in a big way. It's just I look at the players and they're coming in every day, and then it's a close loss, and then it's a close loss. Will this work? Will this work? Will this work? And I would have liked to have gotten our 6th win a long time ago, but there's something really important to us about playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin. To be quite honest with you, Julie and I sat there 2 years ago, and we watched the Wisconsin game, and it looked like it wasn't going to work out where I was going to come be the head coach, just couldn't make things work. I remember watching that game and watching Wisconsin it was a close game, and then Wisconsin just kind of beat us up on the line of scrimmage and pull away at the end of that game, and then soon thereafter, Trev and I were able to work some things out before the Iowa game. So to come, full tilt 2 years later, to be able to run the football in the game, to be able to stop the run, yeah, I'm proud of them, but it does feel like relief, and it feels like relief because I want those older players to leave here. Like Giff kept saying, as he was walking out halftime, I want to change the program forever. And just obviously we're not where we were in the '90s. We're not there. I'm saying just in terms of we're not snake bit. There is no curse. You got to just go play good football. And if you play good football, good things will happen. So we'll have to do that again Friday versus a great team.
So I got a couple very quick videos. They're from Husker Online. If you guys don't watch them, they're pretty interesting. But just kind of their take on.
But by and large,
Rhule.
special teams were very good. Rhule has made now 8 straight
in
field
a row,
goals.
Going back to Ohio State.
8 straight. And he drills them, by the way.
He's the guy.
No question.
Buschini.
He's been excellent.
Yeah. It's so good to hear that boom in the stadium, people saying boom. So yeah, it was, well, what Matt Rhule said was that's the most complete they've played this year. That was the most complete game they've played, right?
No question.
And then a little more on Buschini, obviously, since he is our Helena hometown
so fun
young man.
Being in the stadium for this game. The crowd was electric, and my voice is gone. We got the monkey off our back, and Buschini punted out of the state.
Boy, Buschini, I would say he didn't have a great year last year, and has come on this year.
Big time.
Yeah.
He'll get a chance at the next level.
Very good.
He punted twice, but averaged 50.5 a kick, had a 52-yarder, and put one inside the 20.
Okay, now here's the thing about Buschini, you guys, we got to start looking at this. He could set the all-time average this year. He's knocking on the door. He might have passed Cook today in terms of average. Now you just got to see what he does against Iowa. Watch that, though. He might be the all-time Nebraska punter in terms of average yards per punt at the end of this season.
All right, let's move.
I never thought anybody beat Cook's record. It could happen.
What do you think about that, B?
We don't talk about these things until they happen, but yeah, he is just ahead of Cook right now, who's a mentor of his and someone that Brian very much looks up to. Very close with him. I know they had a lot of conversations, continue to. Helped him a lot. So I'm sure Dad's Cook's plan would be Brian can have it for a season or two, and then hopefully his son will come right behind it and take it back for the Cook family. But I'd be real excited for Brian if he could finish out Iowa real strong and end up with that.
Yeah, that would be one heck of an accomplishment. Well, Jeff, why don't we just throw it back to you and give us any of your thoughts on what we've seen and basically sum up our exciting game that we had.
Yeah, super happy for it. I mean, breath of fresh air. I think glad for the kids and stuff, and hopefully for Rhule to get that 6th win and roll into Iowa with some momentum, maybe some luck, because I think they're on a 3rd or 4th string quarterback. So just super, super happy. It looked like, for the most part, the kids were clicking and glad to see it taking shape.
BB?
Yeah, I think it just, the offense really put on a good performance. I think overall there's always going to be something, but when you put up 44 points against Wisconsin, I don't care. Even if they didn't show up, you put up 44 points, you've done something.
Right.
Defense probably wasn't the strongest game they've ever had. There were some big plays that they gave up, but it was enough. And, finally we're on the upside of some of those plays. Like I said earlier, watching Wisconsin, it was almost like watching us too often, where we're fumbling the opportunities, missing the field goals, missing the receivers. It was a really good game to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. And hopefully they'll carry that over into the Iowa game.
I agree. It was very exciting to watch. I was rewatching some of it today, and I was just so sick of hearing that stat over and over of how long it's been since we've gone to a bowl game. And now what we talked about at a minimum, what we needed to see as far as accomplishments moving forward is this team needed to go to a bowl game. The lights needed to stay on in December, and we needed to get those extra practices. I think Coach Rhule had one comment, and I think I saw graphics of it, that Wisconsin over those years, 8 years, have had basically 105 more practices because they had gone bowling each of those years, and Nebraska had not. And so it's very important for this program moving forward, and they've made that, and I'm excited for the program. I'm excited for those seniors that have been here 6 and 5 years, and they can be the ones that say they returned us to bowl status. Again, I want to see it continue on, and I think that would really put an emphasis on this season, if they do that.
And look at this game, how much the even freshmen and the young kids contributed to this win big time.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, huge. So that's got to, if you're a recruit out there thinking about Nebraska for the years to come, that, this wasn't, too bad we lose that guy. That's our main, These young players really put on a great show too, I thought, on Saturday.
Well, heck yeah. Let's go over our scores. How do we do? So the final score was Nebraska 44, Wisconsin 21. I lost because I picked Wisconsin to win 28-24. On a side note, I was actually the closest to the total score.
That is a
but
side.
I
That's
lost,
a side note.
so that does hurt a little bit. The Sim also picked Nebraska would win 20. Well, no, Jeff, let's just get you in here with the losers too with me. You picked Nebraska 14, Wisconsin 17. A loss also. The Sim picked Nebraska to win, Nebraska 20, Wisconsin 7. It was up by 42 points. Karl picked Nebraska to win 17, Wisconsin 13. He was off by 39 points, eking out the AI that he seems to have troubles with. And then Brian, that leaves Brian, you won.
There you go.
You
baby.
had called it 35, Nebraska, Wisconsin 0. You were off by 34 points, but you bring home the win. You're leading the season, 5 wins to my 4 wins.
And guaranteed the win. I want to reemphasize that. I know I was being ridiculous with the shutout when I said it. I just felt strongly that we needed to break that curse, and I think my articulating it the way I did actually broke the curse. So, to all of you out there, you're welcome.
Your playing days are over. Yeah, thank you, Your playing days are over, but what about any cheerleading or any
possibly?
Could you be in a Herbie Husker costume? So
Sure.
you're bringing the folks up.
Maybe we should just all dress as Herbie and go to the bowl game.
That could get
We'll
get
confuse
confusing.
whoever we play.
That could get very confusing. All right. Well, any final thoughts before we move on to this Friday's game against Iowa? All right. Hearing none, we're going to jump into some statistics, and let's go into this full screen mode. So, looking at Iowa scoring, they're 323 to opponents 195. First downs 194 to opponents 187. Rushing yards 2,349 to opponents 1,266. Passing yards, they fall short of their opponents 1,465 to 2,163. Total offense, they get back on top of their opponents 3,814 to 3,424. So I think as we look at this, it's going to kind of become clear what certainly the Nebraska defense needs to do to stop this team. You start hearing the name Caleb Johnson, their leading running back, and you see that he leads the rushing with over 1,500 yards. Mm-hmm. You see that,
he's averaging 135 plus a game.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing very well, and he's leading in scoring. We'll see on the next screen. But they do have a receiver. Their leading receiver is Jacob Gill, who you can't say, they can throw. They can make some yards.
Sure.
But it's just nothing compared to that running back. And Jeff, you mentioned the quarterback, and you're right. They are on at a minimum their third string quarterback, Jackson Stratton, who you see there. He hasn't thrown much or been in the game much. He has a percentage rating of 65%. So it's always a little scary when you take on a new quarterback. Now he did play last week, but you're never quite sure, what you're going to get and how that's going to affect the team. But
we saw that at USC too.
Yeah, exactly. So you see here with Caleb Johnson has 132 points, far and above, anyone else on their roster, and total offense. Obviously, the name comes back again, Caleb Johnson. So, Coach White, if you haven't adjusted your game plan to stop the run, now is the time. So
I still think our safety play, they're a running team, but I think if you watch the film on us, there's pretty glaring, at least if you look over the last 3-4 weeks, they've been burning us deep. Our safety play has not been great. And
right.
So, if I would not be shocked to see Iowa try at least to throw the ball, because I think there's a weakness there that we need to address.
You got to be hearing some rumblings out there, Jeff. What are they?
I think that's the same concern here for Iowa, is just Caleb Johnson. I think the big talk is, we got to get him to go laterally. If we give up those gaps up the middle like we did against USC and sometimes there against Wisconsin, we're going to be in for a long day. And, Caleb's great. He's fantastic. It would be a shame. That's what's kind of sad about it is I heard that quarterback's a walk-on. Not that it can't be done. Back in the day in the 90s, we did it with Matt Turman. We won the game, but there was a little different quality of Nebraska team at that time. But, Caleb, we're going to have to get him going side to side, get him going toward the sidelines. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, long day, I think, because he'll bust that baby up the middle and be gone. Because you go stack in the box, he's only got to, get 4 yards down the field and he's past everybody. So I'll be interested to see what Tony White comes up with.
Got to know where he's at, what he's doing, right?
Yeah, there's just few teams. If you look at Nebraska, we have several more weapons. I think if you look at us, you don't say, there's our whole offense kind of depends on this running back. And it doesn't mean they can't do something else. Yes, but that dude has been their horse, and that's who they've been winning with. And so we have got to focus on stopping him.
I have not seen Iowa this season. I've seen a few clips in preparation for our broadcast today, but Jeff, how much of that is obviously it's him, but the line must be doing a pretty good job getting him some opportunities, making some holes too.
They are. It's not an outstanding Iowa line like they've had in the past, but I think at his level, they're giving him just enough.
Okay.
And once he gets through there, he's a beast.
Well, it's on our big guys up front then. Polar Bear's going to have to blow up some offensive.
Yeah, exactly. I think it shows how good he is. Just looking at the next running back isn't really even close to him. So he's a hell of a football player, and he's their key. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that their offense isn't going to, their defense isn't going to, really shut down. That's a whole other battle we haven't mentioned, but definitely against their offense, we've got to stop that running back.
Right.
But so let's see what Coach Rhule had to say, and I cut this down to try to just get the Iowa game comments. Just under 7 minutes.
It's the challenge of a short week, and I know you guys had a flu bug going through last week. Or you feel like you're over that?
Yeah, we had both flu and strep throat last week, so it was was really kind of all hands on deck by our medical staff. We still have some guys, we had a couple guys that tapped out today. Not tapped out, like tapped out in the bad way, like we're out because of strep throat. But they were mainly non-travel guys. I mean, like Marquise Buford, Sierra, if you could put a camera on me, I kept putting my arm around him the whole game. I was like, I'll give you tomorrow off. Just get through this game, buddy, because he was playing corner, he was playing gunner, he was playing jam run, punt return, and he was just dying, right? Like, so, obviously him and Marquise Buford got back, but they were just not feeling great. So I think we're much healthier this week. The challenge of a short week, obviously, is just kind of, you lose a day. So, today we went out there, we practiced like it was a Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll practice like it's a Wednesday. Typically, I don't do that, but because of also the Thanksgiving component of this and some of the things that we'll do later in the week, we'll treat this. We treated it this morning like Tuesday.
How much better does Iowa's run offense this year compared to last year? What's challenging about it in general?
Well, they've always been, to me, like the when I first learned how to run outside zone, I go all the way back to learning from Rick Kaczynski, who I know coached here as well. He was a great D-line coach, but learning from him, learning from Coach Ferentz, that's how I first learned, the way that I've always taught the run game. So, they've always been the premier outside zone team, counter team in the country. I think Caleb Johnson's playing at an unbelievably high level. They've got a veteran offensive line. I think Coach Lester's brought in, they're doing a lot of what you see NFL teams doing. Like they're running the ball to the open side, then checking it versus any 4-week threat to zap to the front side. So a lot of us who've been in the NFL, it's kind of what we know, and they're doing it really, really well. And I don't want to underestimate. This back is fantastic. He makes people miss, and he can burst and go the distance. They've kind of done it two different ways. With Sullivan out there, because he was a running threat, they were doing it one way. With McNamara out there, it was a little bit different, and I think that's the mark of great coaches. Whatever quarterback's been out there, they've been able to do it. To stay in the same scheme, but whatever fits that quarterback. And then now, as we're not sure who the quarterback is, they've kind of had a hybrid model in between. So I think they're doing a really good job, and they've run some people off the field just by running the football down their throat.
Just what will you find about your offense playing in colder conditions? You guys haven't had conditions that are going to be this cold. It's going to be a night game, obviously, late in the year.
Yeah, I don't worry about the weather. We go in the mornings here, which is great in some ways. But in the spring, there's plenty of days that we're out there and there's 30-mile-an-hour winds and it's 18, 20 degrees. It was 22 degrees last week. It was cold as could be out. Today was I'm wearing you never see me wear a jacket. I wore a jacket out there today. It's cold today. Where we practice, last week, we were throwing. It was 35-mile-an-hour gusts, and we were throwing into the gusts. The way Dana does 7-on-7, he goes this way for half and this way for half, and our guys are tough. Iowa's guys are tough. I think the game will come down to football. I think our guys will, if there was maybe ice on the field or snow, it might be a little different. But I feel pretty good about our ability to handle the cold, just because we do it in the spring and then we do it again in the fall. We don't really ever go inside unless I really need the crowd noise from the indoor.
You mentioned Tommy Hill last week shut down for the year. Is there anybody else that's moved on or not with your shutdown the rest of the season?
You guys asked me about Malachi the other day. Malachi came in and I hope it's. I just didn't want to talk about that on Thursday, right? I thought that was more important time of the game, but Malachi came in, let us know he was going to go in the portal. So obviously wish him the best. Great young man, local guy. Had some really big moments for us last year. Was redshirting and developing, and I think what we're going to this year, I think we're going to probably end up with between 30 and 50 guys in the portal. Just with the roster and all things that are going to have to happen. So wish Malachi. I can't say anything but great things about Malachi, and obviously he's not one that I wanted to go in the portal, but I really don't want any of them to go in the portal. I want them all to stay here and develop. It's just the new world we're in. It's going to be different. So in terms of anyone else, everyone's kind of practicing with us. Tommy's the one that we just kind of shut down, and Mike is fighting through his shoulder. He's done a great job of battling through that shoulder that kind of limits him a little bit. Everyone else is kind of battling. Marquise Buford, like I said, battled through the sickness last week. So I think everyone else is up and healthy and ready to go.
What have you seen in terms of the progression on special teams, and how important will that be Friday with a team like Iowa that field position so important?
Yeah, I think like I said, I've really studied Coach Ferentz, and I have so much respect for what he's done. And from the fact, he'll take the ball. A lot of guys will defer. He'll take the ball to have the win in the fourth quarter, and the way that they'll play field position, the way that they'll punt the ball down. It's very much like when you're in the NFL playing all the Coach Belichick and all his coaches. Because when I was there, you'd play Joe Judge, you'd play those guys. It's really difficult, and they have a great punter, they have an elite returner, they've got great special teams, and it'll be a real challenge. And on a game like this, a Friday night in the cold, those things show up, and that's why they win the close games. They're very comfortable. To me, like it's almost like for them, like the game doesn't even start until the second half begins. It's like they're very comfortable playing in a close game, and they know who they are. That I really enjoyed watching that from them. So, Brian's been really punting the ball well. We've been more consistent in terms of catching punts and not letting balls roll down and having us in bad field position. We had some 2 returners out there last week to try to get shake Jacory loose. So we'll try to have our best plan possible. My only thing to the coaches is like, hey, do whatever you guys want. Just make sure it's something we can execute. Let's not go out there and try to solve the world with a pencil. Let's let our guys go out and execute. And so, whether it's Carter Nelson running down a kickoff and tackle him at the 20, hopefully we can make some plays versus probably the premier special teams unit in the Big Ten.
All right. Stop sharing that screen. Got Jeff back up. I'll give my thoughts kind of first. I guess I go back to that question that we posed at the start with, Wisconsin had a close loss to Penn State, and they dropped a big one to Iowa 42-10. They lost a close loss to Oregon, and both top 5 teams. And then they lost to us 44-25. And then that haunting question out there, which I haven't heard anyone else maybe discuss, is was it another letdown by them, or did they get beat by Nebraska? And I'm gonna hope that they got beat, and Nebraska has sort of the Holgorsen effect, has fixed that offense enough where they can score enough to win. And as much as our defenses had problems with the deep ball, I think their secondaries had problems with the pass. Mm-hmm. So hopefully Holgorsen can dial up a good game plan to take advantage of that. And maybe this is the game where we see things going deeper a little more. And maybe that frees up a little bit of the run game too. But Iowa's stout, so it's going to be a tough game. Your thoughts, BB?
No, I agree. Like I said, I just haven't had a chance to really study Iowa as much as that. I don't think it was as much a letdown by Wisconsin. I don't think they handed that game to us by not showing up or anything, just because it was such a different look and a good look. When I watch our game offensively, I see things to me that make sense. I see a running game that we don't just go away from, that's successful, that's smart. We use it to set up the pass. I just liked the way the game went, even if not just each play, the overall scheme made a lot more sense to me watching what we did against Wisconsin than what we would have done maybe earlier in the year to some of the other teams. So, I'm looking for our offense to do better at Iowa as well. So
yeah, I mean, we had many more passes between that. I forget the exact number, but between that over 15 yards, under 20 yards, and that 15 to 20 than we've had, I think, all season.
Yeah.
And so it was, obviously that's not the deep ball, but that's a heck of a lot better than line of scrimmage passes.
Well, what was the stat Brock brought up announcing against USC? I was shocked by is 36 going into the USC game. 36% of our passes were for a loss. Yeah, that's hard to win games if you're doing that.
Good. That's just trying to create a weird running game out of your passing game. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of hope just like you do. I hope that it looked like the blocks were, body on body. So it a lot of that stuff, you can't really say that they just had a letdown. They were getting beat at the point of attack. So I hope that was the case, But again, I think we're all in that boat. Like, okay, we can't go up here because that floor can come bouncing down. So, yeah, hopefully we show up on Friday and still have that momentum.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and give my prediction. I mean, they had, like Coach Rhule always says, the players have an opportunity. The team basically has an opportunity to go out and prove it. It's almost like many different things, whether it's shooting or whatever. You shoot well for a second, and then okay, now prove it, and so that you can consistently do that. And so, if they go out and fail, even if it's a close game, I think it could still be proving it. But if they go out and they get beat bad, hopefully that will not happen. But that's at least we accomplished our 6th win, and we can continue to get better. Mm-hmm. But we're not where we want to be. But if they go out, they got a chance to prove that they're a pretty darn good team, and they could win this, get this 7th win, and then go to a bowl game and get that win. And man, that really, I think, changes things and sets stuff on a really nice trajectory from recruiting to when you get back into spring ball and going into the next season. So that's really my hope. Again, I don't know. We'll see. This is their chance
to show us. That's why they play the games, right?
This is their chance. So I'm going to say Nebraska. I'm probably thinking 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. So hopefully my math is right. I'm thinking 30 points Nebraska. I don't think they'll be successful. That's such a good running back. They're not going to shut them out or anything, but hopefully they'll hold them to 3 touchdowns. So 21 Iowa, 30-21 Iowa. Now our sim said Nebraska would lose. It was 25 Nebraska, Iowa 27 in like triple overtime when they had to just go for 2. It was a pretty wild game. And then Karl gave us his picks: Nebraska 24, Iowa 21. So, BB, what are your thoughts, and then your pick?
Well, like you say, it's just hard to know. You want to see it, but overall, I was impressed with what I've seen with the offense. I've been shooting my mouth off forever about needing a new offensive coordinator, so we finally get one. I better put my hope and faith in him, And it just looked – I think you guys would agree that our sideline just looked – not only that they were winning, they looked like they were rejuvenated to me. And, winning breeds success. You're happy, you're at home, it's a senior game and everything. There just seemed to be some swagger on the sideline, not only the players but the coaches. It was exciting to see that. So I really hope we can continue and take that into Iowa, beat a very important rivalry game, especially for Jeff's sake. So I'm thinking Nebraska wins this one 35-14.
35-14.
Yeah.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm hoping they carry that. I mean, I'm hoping that after that losing streak, and then to do that, and then to pretty much dominate on Wisconsin, that they got the bowl thing off of their back, and they can walk into Iowa City thinking, okay, get some of that swagger back like they had after Colorado. Like, hey, we can go in here and put it on them. They got a walk-on quarterback. But I'm still going to stay in that same boat because I worry about Tony White, scheming it up. He's, kind of concerned me. I still got my concerns about Rhule. So I still have I think we can go in and win it. I think we should win it when they got that kind of quarterback. Because, I mean, literally, if we just don't let Caleb run all over us, we should win the game. So I'm going to say 23-16 Nebraska.
Got it. Now, on their quarterback, I watched a little video of him talking, and now he was at Colorado State for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Played more his first year, didn't play. I don't know if he saw the field in the game the next year. And then he was a walk-on at Iowa. But he had a very upbeat and, press conference, and he was talking about Brady and, it's kind of an influence, or, Brady kept getting better every game, and that's what I'm going to do. So he's certainly not downtrodden. It's not like when what was the young man's name that came in that year, in the 90s, the first year we won the national championship, our third string. I think it was
Matt Turman.
Matt Turman, yeah, that was a crazy year.
K-State, I think, is who he beat. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure.
I think because of the changes in college football, your third string quarterback is definitely a drop off, but not a drop off to the level that it used to be in those days. And just my feelings anyway. I think you got some quarterbacks that are shopping around to get on teams. And anyway, my hope, because really any other year, if you played a team that was down to their third string quarterback, you'd be like, oh,
typically.
Yeah, we got this.
Typically.
Yeah. So, but it's a little scary. But
well, and you would hope the kid's got some swagger. You know, if your quarterback is press conference and he's got looking at his feet and he's, that's not a good sign. So whether you
I would have liked to have seen a little more deer in the headlight, frankly. Jeff, what were you saying?
You make a good point though, not thinking about that, because he could be a walk-on, but with NIL, you can do that. You know.
Oh yeah.
So, like, he doesn't need a scholarship because NIL will then pay his way. So, you could have a point. He may be better than what we think.
Well, what's the saying in the NFL? One of the best spots to be in is the second string quarterback, because you get paid pretty darn well and you really have none of the stress. But they have to pay you well to be ready for their franchise.
Well, I say this, and I've said it every game. The key to success for me against any opponent is you need to hit the quarterback. So being a third stringer, all that much more important for our defense to get to him. If he does drop back, try to throw a pass, or he's doing whatever he's doing, we have the opportunity to put a big body on him. We need to do that.
Yeah, get his feet moving.
Yeah, let him know that we're there. So
I want at least 4 guys on Johnson all game, and then the rest can do whatever.
Just tackle him wherever he's at.
Just tackle
ball
him.
or not.
I don't care. 4 guys on him, and then the rest of everyone else take the other guys.
The team. We're tackking him as he runs to the bench.
Johnson goes down. It doesn't matter. And then when he's down, twist his ankle, do something. No dirty play.
Dude's at the Gatorade, and we're hitting him. Right.
All right, Jeff. Any final thoughts?
No, I just, around here, I hope everybody does enjoy that 6th win. I mean, around here, we didn't get into it much tonight, but, like, there was people calling in about the storm in the field, like old crotchety white guy. Like, come on. Where have you been for a decade, man?
Are you kidding me?
It was multiple on these radio call-ins. Oh, we're better than that. Are we? Really? Because we haven't had a winning season forever. Like,
let them have
fun.
Like,
let them enjoy that a little bit, let everyone, I mean, like, you don't feel like that energy will be, they were just.
Nobody was hurting anybody. We weren't tearing up the stadium.
Well, we haven't beat Wisconsin since
we've never seen the trophy. We didn't even know what it looked like.
Something like that.
Excellent point. I was just going to say, I was on Twitter, following the game on our Twitter account, and I got some guy whose biggest concern in the world is Harburg on his 3 plays, one of which was a touchdown, by the way. He's keeping the ball on that option play too much. He's not pitching it. And that's costing us yards and points. And I'm like, dude, you need to get a life. You really need to get a life. It was unbelievable. But I just seconding there's always somebody out there that's got a problem with something.
Go back to coaching your Xbox team.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
so I hope people do enjoy it. I hope the Big Red goes out there. I don't even care if it's a nail biter game. Like, if either way it goes, we've made it to a bowl. I want to win this game, obviously. But if they go in there and it's not a sloppy, dirty game, it's an actually well-played game between a rivalry, our true one and only rivalry in the Big Ten. Like, let's just go out and enjoy this Friday evening and hope that the boys play well, everybody comes out healthy, and if we can steal a victory with it, all the better.
Yeah, exactly. And just to go back to your point about the storm in the fields, and we need these, and it ties into what I'd said earlier, we need these young people to be excited about Nebraska football, because anyway, those early years are very, they kind of formulate who your team is for life. And Nebraska's been pretty absent for these young people's lives for a while. So we need them to be excited.
No, that's, And the way Nebraska does it, I mean, I've heard commentary. They come through their gate. They go on the field.
Right.
They have a good time. There's no fist fights. Nobody's attacking the other players.
Right.
They're not vandalizing. It was wonderful. It was good to see.
They really get out and they take pictures with the players and
It
stuff
was
like that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you mean. Like, you don't think that those players loved that?
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Fought and sweat and bled and the injuries that they didn't love, that they did that. They did that. They brought all those people that much excitement and joy that night. And to have, I mean, it's the only one that those, I mean, Ty Robinson's been here 6 years. It's the only time it's happened since he's been here.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, come on. Like, let him have that day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you're got to be.
Well, I tell you, if we're at the bowl game, when we win, let's storm the field. Maybe just
Sure.
it might just be the 3 or 4 of us, but we should just go for it.
Exactly.
Doing it.
Yeah. You can get us out of jail, can't you, Jeff? When we're
Only if I'm faster than you
when
guys.
the Nashville, we'll be sitting in the Nashville jail or wherever.
I may be there with you if I can't outrun you.
Well, here's to that, getting that elusive 6 win and going bowling.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Go Big Red.
And thanks to Eric. This is probably the best bourbon I've ever
All
had.
right.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to have to look for it.
Smoke
Wagon.
Yeah,
I like the name.
it doesn't have the bite like they normally do. I like it, actually.
Cheers. All right, guys.
We'll
go Big
enjoy
Red.
that bottle tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, all right, guys. Go Big Red.